Hey guys, what's going on? It's Rekt Capital. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about post-halving price tendencies for Bitcoin. Across all different halvings, we tend to see the same things repeating over and over again, and it's very important to just dissect these tendencies across time, across history, and see if it could potentially inform price going forward. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Let's dive right into the video. This tweet, I posted this near the end of July, and of course this comes from my article about Bitcoin, everything you need to know post-halving, where I talk about key historically recurring tendencies across all halvings, of course, after the halving. And in this article, I talk about a few key tendencies, and one of them is that upon range breakout from a post-halving range, we tend to see a new range form above that range. That sounds like a mouthful. It sounds very wishy-washy, but if we just think about this, and I'm just going to present this to you, I'm going to showcase post-halving price action after halving 1 and halving 2, and we're going to use these tendencies to potentially predict what could potentially happen for Bitcoin after halving 3. So let's have a look at halving number 1, specifically post-halving number 1. Here's halving number 1 in November 2012, and you can see that there is a reaccumulation range that lasts 6 weeks. But of course, one of the historically recurring tendencies is for a breakout to occur from this reaccumulation range, and then for price to actually retest the top of this reaccumulation range as a new support before rallying towards the upside. And in fact, on 3 separate occasions, you have a successful retest attempt of this level as a new support before springboarding to new price levels. So you can see here, it's very evident that a new range is forming above the old range, above the post-halving reaccumulation range. And then once this range actually forms, this range forms for the sole purpose of actually successfully retesting the top of this range as a new support. That's why this range forms. So you can see that after halving 1, a new range forms above the post-halving range that price breaks out from, because halving number 1 occurred very early on in Bitcoin's history. So you can see that the new range that forms above the post-halving range lasts only a few days. 4 years later, halving number 2 rolls around, and you can see that the new range above the old range actually lasts for 5 weeks. So you can see that there is a lengthening in the market cycles, so it takes a little bit more time every time for these price movements, these technical steps to take place. So it's very interesting to see that in action. The new range after halving 1 lasted only a few days. Of course, first it was 6 weeks, followed by a few days, and then you have halving number 2, where we have a accumulation range of 4 weeks, followed by a reaccumulation range above that range, with the sole purpose of once again successfully retesting the top of the old range. So you can see that that successful retest attempt is very much clear right over here. But this range lasted a little bit longer. So in any case, a key tendency is that we always see a new range form above an old range. So how can this historically recurrent tendency across time after the halvings actually translate into the price action that we're seeing today, post-halving number 3? We have to be open to the fact that a new range may form above the post-halving range, and of course the post-halving range is a $1,000 range from 8,700 to 9,700. So now we just have to think about the top of this range becoming a new support, and that level is 9,700, 9,650, which is actually confluent with a CME gap that, mind you, wasn't filled on the retrace. We actually bottomed out on this recent retrace just above that gap. So it's very important to just note that we might actually see a new range in the making between 9,650 and 10,800. But having said that, I'm not entirely certain where the top of this range might actually be. This is only a prospective, speculative take from my part, because of course we don't know where the top of the range will be, but we know where the bottom of the range will be, because across history, across time, you can see that the old range top is the range bottom for the new range. the old range top is the bottom for the new range above that range. So that's something to bear in mind. 9650 should be the level that will hold Bitcoin after halving 3 as a support, and that's going to be the base of the new range above the post-halving range. So this is the post-halving range, and this may very well be the new range that forms just above it. But of course, the jury is still out whether 10,800 is the top of that range or not. But at the moment, this was a chart that I posted on September 10th. And in fact, since that time, in the week that has followed, we're definitely seeing some rejection at 10,800. It is a key monthly level. Of course, we are going to see some overextension past this point to even the low 11,000s, to even as far as 11,400. But in any case, if Bitcoin closes on the weekly below 10,800, we'll probably see this trajectory take place, and we'll probably see a revisit of 9,650 for that CME gap to actually be filled, and for these historically recurring price tendencies to actually take effect, because at the moment we've only seen these tendencies take place after halving 1 and halving 2. So seeing a pullback back into 9650 would be a vindication, it would be a validation of these tendencies that I talk about in more detail in an article on my website, rektcapital.co. Check out the articles section, it's totally free. It's a great resource that I keep referring to, and that resource is the gift that keeps on giving. I always refer to it, I've been referring to it more and more on this recent sharp correction, because I still feel like the correction isn't yet over. This may very well be a relief rally before we actually see this range form. But of course, if 9650 doesn't hold, then we're going to have an invalidation of a very key historical tendency, in which case feel free to check out my recent video about where we could see the correction go for Bitcoin. But having said that, that's about it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, of course, consider a like as always, and of course subscribe to the channel if you haven't already for more videos like this in the future. I'm Rekt Capital, and I'll speak to you in the next one. Speak soon.